Hello. Hi, everybody. So I wanted to talk about cheat days. So I was making fries for my son and my husband last night because I got some potatoes in my CSA box and I stored it on Instagram because I used to work at a restaurant, so I know how to make crispy restaurant style fries. And I was sharing with my viewers that I wasn't going to partake in these fries, although French fries used to be my ultimate comfort food. And French fries were like the thing that I went out of the restaurant and I liked them, and it was like one of my favorite things ever. And now I could cook them from scratch for my family and not eat them. And I don't think fries are bad. I mean, they are high carb and very high starch, and something that part of my low carb lifestyle, I wouldn't really choose to eat them. But more than that, there are nightshade potatoes are nightshade, so I don't eat nightshades because they cause inflammation in my body, and it's a choice I make. And I'm at that point in my journey where I can choose to avoid foods that do me harm, and I don't feel like deprived about it. And I think a lot of people have a hard time getting to that point where they're constantly in that cycle of, I'm just going to do it today. I'm going to cheat today, or I'm going to have an off day, or whatever. And then they feel guilty about it. And it becomes this like on and off the wagon kind of mentality where I feel that if you erase guilt and food, like the food guilt connection, and just see foods for what they are, I don't think French fries are bad. I don't think any foods are bad. I think there's foods that do you harm and foods that help you out, and you just choose which one to eat at any given time. If you're someone that you practice carb ups, like a lot of people do on cyclical keto or on targeted ketogenic diet, where they eat a certain amount of carbohydrates, specific times. Some people do it right before workouts. Some people do it in the evenings, the days they worked out, or just periodically. And these types of targeted carbohydrate consumptions on a low carb diet can help with a number of things. One of them being like for before workouts, if you get like that boost of energy of sugar in your system that helps you with like a really high intensity workout like CrossFit, or if you're a cyclist or a sprinter or something like that. People who practice the carb ups in the evening, they use this carb consumption to kind of break stalls, to replenish glycogen in your muscles, which helps with recovery. A lot of women, especially with thyroid or hormone issues, find that carbs in the evening help them sleep better, like sleep like a baby. And also keep, oh my gosh, I don't know if you saw that. That was lightning flashing. There's like a storm here. And there's the thunder. Anyway, so like I said, there are ways to consume carbs even on a low carb lifestyle. Hello, Baltimore. Or do you have the rain too? So these fries aren't bad, right? It's not like, even if you're keto, I don't want you to look at something starchy and say that's an evil food. No, you choose not to eat it. You choose not to eat it because you're diabetic. You choose not to eat it because it might set off a good cycle of binging. I know for me, I try and stay away from certain foods despite the not having any allergies, or like plantain chips. I love plantain chips. They're delicious. I don't react to plantains. However, plantain chips aren't something I choose even for my carb ups when I do them. Why? Because it's very hard for me to eat just a portion of plantain chips. If I'm going to do plantain chips, I tend to overdo plantain chips. So they've kind of made their way to my not worth it list. And the same thing that the potatoes are on my not worth it list, because not only would those fries give me an inflammatory reaction because they are nightshades, but they would also probably trigger something emotional where I'd have a hard time having just one serving, and I'd probably overeat. And the problem with overeating, it's not so much in the, wow, you just ate a lot, but it really messes with your hunger signals. And that's why when people are in that cycle of overeating, they get leptin resistance, where they're not like, they no longer tune into their body's normal signals that are saying, hey, I'm full, I have enough, and like, the brain and the stomach are not talking. So instead of thinking of foods as good and bad, right? There are no such thing as good and bad foods. Food is just food. And sometimes you eat it and you feel great. And sometimes you eat it and you don't feel great. And you have to figure out which are your feel good foods and which are your I don't feel so good foods. And once you figure those out, you can make informed decisions on what's worth it to you. I understand every now and then it comes a time where you say, I'm going to eat this food. It doesn't make me feel that good, but I'm going to own this decision and feel bad and then get over it and move on. And that's okay. You don't have to feel guilty about that. An example for me is something like a dairy-free ice cream. Halo Top, for example, has a lot of weird ingredients I don't normally eat, but they have a dairy-free option. It's a low-carb option. If I want ice cream and I don't want to make it myself, I might buy some Halo Top. I never feel very good afterwards because it has like thickeners and pea protein and God knows what else in it. However, every few months when I get that hankering for ice cream, it's a worth it food for me. And I don't associate guilt to it. I have it. The next day I wake up, life goes on as normal. Nothing happened. It's not like you're going to gain weight overnight. That's not how it works. Our bodies aren't like, it doesn't work that way. You don't eat something one day and then wake up heavier the next day because you actually gained fat on your body. It doesn't work that quickly. You can retain water, you can get inflamed, you can get swollen from inflammation, but actual fat on your body doesn't appear overnight. So T. Lee Jones is saying that it's hard when you have a family and prepare food for all of them. I have a family. I prepare food for every night, a 5-year-old boy and my husband who's active duty military, an avid cyclist, and someone who loves carbs and junk food. And although he eats much healthier because you know what, if I'm cooking dinner, you're going to eat what I'm cooking, right? And he can have his junk food on the side. I always tell him, it's like he cheats on me with that stuff, right? I'm like, he would never be unfaithful, but if he goes to McDonald's, I'll give him crap about it. Anyway, I just really want to drill in the notion that having cheat days, falling off the wagon, it doesn't really exist. It's all things you're putting on yourself. So it's all about your perspective. And a lot of that comes from how we feel after we eat certain foods. But just because a food, even if it makes you feel bad, doesn't mean it's a bad food. It just means it's bad for you. So you have to choose whether it's worth it for you or not. Now, getting a little more esoterical, a little more on the woo-woo side, I will say, if you are continuously eating foods that make you feel sick, that make you feel unhealthy, that make you feel tired, bloated, fatigued, dizzy, nauseous, constipated, whatever, guilty. If there's a food that even if you eat it and it doesn't matter if you have no digestive distress, but every time you eat that food you feel guilty, obviously there's an emotional tie there to that food that's not emotionally healthy for you. So if you eat any foods and they have negative side effects on you, but you continue to eat them, that's like a form of self-harm. Like, why would you repeatedly do something to yourself that had negative side effects that hurt you? So if you look at food as nourishing and you look at the foods that don't nourish you, that hurt you, as something that harms you, then you don't want to harm yourself all the time. So stop eating them. And if you have a hard time stopping that, then I challenge you and say, why do you think you deserve to hurt? Like, why are you hurting yourself? Why are you punishing yourself? Do you not feel worthy of being healthy, having energy, feeling happy, not feeling guilty? And I know that can be a little off the deep end for some people, but that's something I had to ask myself when I had a hard time giving up the foods that were doing me harm. So that, my friends, is pretty much the end of the line when you want to figure out what foods are worth it to you. Your relationship with yourself, you do deserve happiness, you do deserve to be healthy, you do deserve to enjoy the food you eat, and you deserve to feel good after you eat. So make the choices that support that. Until next time, Christina Kerp here. Have a good day.